Have you ever wondered, in the midst of the bustling and urbanized 21st century, there still exist towns that seem to come out of ancient books? Where time seems to stand still, church bells echo through every cobblestone street, and every moss-covered wall whispers stories hundreds of years old. Those medieval towns are not just open-air museums, but the living souls of the past, still breathing, still resonating in every beat of the present. 1. Civita di Bagnoregio, the city about to disappear. There is a place in Italy that has a heartbreakingly sad name. The city that is about to disappear. Civita di Bagnoregio is located on a limestone cliff in the Lazio region, less than 100 kilometers from Rome. But when you step foot here, you feel like you have just turned into another world. On the narrow bridge more than 200 meters long connecting the town to the mainland, the wind blows fiercely, the sky opens up, and below you are cliffs that are eroded every day. It is this fragility that makes this place sacred, as if just one stronger wind would send the whole city into a 1,000-year sleep. The town has only 11 residents left, who have chosen to stay with their memories, with its cobblestone streets, century-old roofs, and the simple yet majestic church of San Donato. In the morning, the fog covers the square, and the ringing of bells breaks the silence. In the afternoon, when the sun sets, the light dyes the stone walls gold, making Civita look like an ancient painting hanging in the sky. People call Civita la città che muore, the dying city. But if you have the chance to set foot here, you will see that it is not dead at all. It still lives in every step of the visitors, in the laughter of the children running across the bridge, in the stories that the old people tell about the ancestors who built each brick, each wall. Although this land is eroded by nature, it still proudly retains the soul of the past. Civita di Bagnoregio is not just a place, but a reminder of the fragility of human life before the endless flow of nature, of the resilience of memory against oblivion, and above all, of our desire, those who come after, to preserve something that does not belong to our time, but that makes up the essence of human nature, the appreciation of the past. 2. Rocamadour, the village clinging to the sky. In southern France, where the Alzou River Valley cuts deep into the limestone, there is a village so strange it looks like it came straight out of an ancient painting. It is Rocamadour, a village built vertically on a cliff, layer upon layer of stone structures, as if the people here have carved their own lives into the mountainside. From afar, Rocamadour looks like a city of dreams, where church walls, monasteries, and castles blend into the cliffs. It is said that to reach the sacred center, visitors must climb 216 stone steps called the Grand Escalier. In the past, pilgrims climbed each step on their knees, their hands clasped, their eyes fixed on the statue of the Black Madonna above, a 12th century statue that is believed to have miraculous healing powers. They walked in silence, the only sounds being their heartbeats, the wind, and the bells from the cathedral. Legend has it that there is a bell here that rings by itself whenever a miracle happens at sea. In the dark of night, the bell rings long over the valley, as a reminder that an invisible hand still protects people. Rocamadour is not only famous for its architecture or religion, it is also the home of AOC goat cheese, which has the flavor of the Quercy limestone, where goats graze on the steep mountain slopes. The flavor is rich and fatty, but also has a touch of wildness of nature, like the village itself, both fragile and indomitable. As the sun sets, the sunset dyes the cliffs red, and Rocamadour is like a burning candle in the sky. The village has survived hundreds of years of war and disease, and still stands there as a symbol of faith, patience, and the bond between people and this precarious land. Coming to Rocamadour, we not only admire a heritage, but also embark on our own pilgrimage. Climbing each step, breathing in the cold wind from the valley, we suddenly feel our hearts cleansed, lighter, just like the pilgrims from centuries ago. Ronda, the heart of Andalusia. In the south of Spain, in the middle of the sunny and windy Andalusia region, there is a city that seems to hang in the sky. Ronda, where nature and man collaborate to create a picture that is both majestic and romantic. The city is divided in two by a gorge nearly 100 meters deep, where the Guadalquivir River flows rapidly through steep cliffs. Across the gorge is the Puente Nuevo Bridge, the symbol of Ronda. Standing on the bridge, the wind blows fiercely, while below is a deep abyss, making everyone feel like they are standing on the thin line between the past and the present. Ronda has the traces of many civilizations. The Romans established it as a strategic city. Then, during the Moorish period, it became an important center with strong walls, gardens, and elaborate Islamic-style palaces. When Spain was unified, Ronda took on a new look, but still retained its narrow cobbled streets, white roofs, and pretty squares. The highlight is the Plaza de Toros, one of Spain's oldest bull rings. Every festival season, the place still resonates with the sound of drums, cheers, the stamping of matadors, and the panting of bulls. Although controversial, bullfighting in Ronda is not just a sport, but also a symbol of the Andalusian spirit, strong, tragic, and full of artistry. Ronda is also known for its white houses with red roofs that hug the mountainside, reflecting into the deep abyss. At night, the yellow lights cover them with a fairy tale beauty, like stars falling from the sky. Walking on the narrow streets, one can hear the sound of a guitar humming from a small bar, mixed with the smell of wine and the scent of orange blossoms in the wind. Ronda has long been a place of inspiration for writers, poets, and painters. Ernest Hemingway once called it the most beautiful city in the world. And indeed, in Ronda, beauty comes not only from the scenery, but also from the blend of tragedy and romance, between the fierceness of the arena and the tranquility of the sunset. As the sun sets behind the Andalusian mountains, Ronda is bathed in a golden glow, like a beating heart in the sky. It reminds us that there are places that, once visited, leave a mark on our hearts forever. 4. Marvão, fortress in the clouds. In Portugal's Alentejo region, more than 800 meters above sea level, there is a village that seems to have grown out of the clouds. It is Marvão, a small but proud town nestled atop the Serra de São Mamede. From a distance, Marvão resembles a giant stone bird's nest, surrounded by sturdy walls and a silent castle overlooking the endless valley. As you pass through the city gates, you enter another world. The narrow, winding cobblestone streets lead past houses with red roofs and white walls that have been stained by time. At every corner, you can hear the wind blowing through the cracks in the walls, the sound of shoes on the stone echoing, like the echoes of the knights who once guarded this place. The Marvão Castle, built in the 9th century, still stands tall, guarding the vast land. Standing on the walls, your eyes can drift far away to the horizon, where the dawn light dyes the steppe gold, while the sunset turns the whole village into a fiery red painting. Marvão is more than just a military fortress. It is a place where culture and memory come together. Every year, classical music festivals resound in the heart of the old city, the sound of violins and pianos echoing between the cold stone walls. Here too, independent film festivals and handicraft fairs transform the small village into a stage of creativity. The strange thing is that in the midst of its silence, Marvão does not evoke sadness. On the contrary, it brings peace. Perhaps because this place is so close to the sky, so close to the clouds, people also learn to live slowly, live lightly, and listen to themselves. Visitors who set foot in Marvaux often leave with the feeling of having found a secluded place, where time is just the steady breathing of nature. Marvaux, with its centuries-old walls and its open space to the ends of the earth, is a testament to man's desire for immortality. Despite its location on a precarious mountain peak, it still lives, still breathes, and still welcomes travelers who want to rediscover the feeling of touching the past with the hands of the present. 5. Rhodes, shadow of wonder. In the deep blue Aegean Sea, the Greek island of Rhodes has long been known as the Pearl of the Mediterranean. It was once home to the Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, a giant statue that guarded the harbor, welcoming incoming ships. The Colossus is now a memory, but the city of Rhodes is alive, with its fortified walls, cobblestone streets, and an atmosphere that feels like a window into the Middle Ages. The UNESCO World Heritage Site of Rhodes is a maze of narrow streets where the Knights of St. John still stand in the stone walls. Wander through the old town and you'll find imposing arched gates, small squares shaded by olive trees, and proud buildings of gray limestone. Every turn is a surprise, from a quiet monastery to a small tavern filled with the sound of a bouzouki. Rhodes was once the commercial, religious, and cultural center of this sea. Merchant ships from the east brought spices and silks, which mixed with local wine and olive oil, creating a prosperity that lasted for centuries. Standing on the city walls looking out to sea, one can easily imagine the white sails that once woven the horizon. In addition to architecture, Rhodes also has the breath of nature. Orange orchards, sprawling vineyards, endless olive groves, all make up the island's unique flavor. The people here still maintain the custom of making wine, pressing oil, and telling the legend of Colossus to the next generation as part of their flesh and blood. Rhodes is not just an island. It is an epic poem in stone and waves. It reminds us that there are wonders that do not need a physical form, because the soul of the land is a wonder in itself. When the sun sets, the last rays of the day shine on the ancient walls. The whole city seems to light up once more, to whisper, although the Colossus has fallen, the true wonder has never been lost. 6. Mostar, the bridge of division and harmony. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, in the middle of the Balkan Mountains, there is a city with a simple name, Mostar, meaning bridge keeper. And indeed, the soul of this city is the ancient starry Most Bridge, gracefully curving over the deep blue Neretva River. The bridge was built in 1566 using 456 limestone blocks joined together without a single mortar, and has stood firm for nearly 5 centuries, defying both time and war. Stary Most is more than just a structure, it is also a symbol of courage. For more than 450 years, young people in Mostar have maintained a unique tradition, jumping from the nearly 24-meter-high bridge into the icy river as a rite of passage into adulthood. When a young man plunges into the water, the crowd above cheers, and the moment becomes an affirmation of courage, of the continuity of a community. But Mostar is also a place with deep historical wounds. During the years of the Balkan Wars, the city was divided not only by the river, but also by faith and religion. Bosniak Muslims lived in the east, Croatian Catholics in the west. The Stari Most Bridge was destroyed, like a knife cutting through a shared memory. But then, with love and resilience, the people rebuilt the bridge in 2004, giving back to Mostar not only a symbol, but also a hope for harmony. Today, visitors to Mostar often pause on the bridge, looking down at the clear water that reflects the sky. There, division and reconciliation, past and present, seem to coexist. The city retains its cobblestone streets, Ottoman houses with brown tiled roofs, and small markets selling spices and handicrafts, a reminder of the East-West era. Surprisingly, in the middle of this once divided city, there is a statue of Bruce Lee, erected in 2005. It is not only a cinematic icon, but also a message. In a fractured society, there needs to be a neutral image for everyone to reflect on. Mostar, with its soaring bridge, is proof that ruin is not the end. It can be the beginning of healing. And every time the Neretva waters flow beneath the bridge, you can hear the heartbeat of the two halves of the city. A heartbeat that patiently waits for the day when it will be fully reunited. 7. Segovia. The Roman River still flows. In central Spain, less than an hour's drive from Madrid, Segovia appears like a Roman dream come to life. The small city is surrounded by hills and valleys, but its soul lies in the ancient aqueduct, the Acueducto de Segovia. Built in the 1st century, using more than 20,000 giant granite blocks joined together without mortar, the structure has brought water from the Guadarrama Mountains to the city for nearly 2,000 years. Standing under the towering arches, looking at each heavy stone block that has remained in place for centuries, one feels as if one is touching eternity. But Segovia is more than just the aqueduct. There is also the Alcázar de Segovia, an ancient castle perched on a promontory jutting out into the valley, with its towering spires rising like something out of a fairy tale. It is said to have inspired the Disney fairy tale castle. Walk through its grand halls, climb its towers, and take in the panoramic view of Segovia with its red-tiled roofs, ancient churches, and surrounding walls. And you will feel as if you have been transported back to the Middle Ages. There are also more than 20 ancient churches in the city, each representing a slice of Spanish religious history. The echoes of the ceremonies, the organ sounds, still linger in the meter-thick walls. It is this sacredness that gives Segovia its beauty, both magnificent and quiet. The cuisine here also has its own soul. Coming to Segovia, one cannot miss the cochinillo asado, roasted suckling pig. In the old restaurants, the golden pork is roasted crispy in brick ovens, and when served, a plate can be used instead of a knife, as a ritual to prove its tenderness. The smell of meat and red wine spreads, blending with the ancient atmosphere, making the meal part of the historical experience. Segovia was the capital of the Kingdom of Castile in the 12th century, where important political decisions shaped the entire Iberian Peninsula. Yet, unlike the hustle and bustle of Madrid or Barcelona, Segovia remains a quiet place, away from the tourist rush. As dusk falls, the golden light covers the Roman arches. Segovia becomes a classical piece, gentle and timeless. And in the hustle and bustle of modern times, the Aqueducto still stands, a reminder that there are structures that not only carry water, but also transmit the memories and pride of an entire civilization. 8. Mont Saint-Michel, the abbey between the tides. On the Normandy coast of France, where the Atlantic Ocean waves crash daily on the salty sand, there is a small island that seems to have come straight out of a legend. It is Mont Saint-Michel, where a giant monastery rises from the rock, towering high above the clouds, standing majestically in the arms of the tide. When the sea rises, the island becomes a lonely fortress, completely isolated from the mainland. But when the tide recedes, a dirt road appears, connecting the island to the shore like a miracle of nature. Mont Saint-Michel has been called the wonder of the West, and indeed, from a distance, it looks like a mountain rising from the sea, topped by a massive Gothic abbey built in the 8th century. The high walls, the soaring spires, the narrow and dark corridors take visitors into a space that is half real and half dreamlike. During the Middle Ages, Mont Saint-Michel was both a sacred pilgrimage site and an impregnable fortress. Knights and monks lived side by side, defending the tiny island from invasion. Pilgrims from all over Europe trekked through sand and water, walking through hardships to kneel at the foot of the cathedral. Those footsteps, over hundreds of years, left their footprints in the trails that still remain today. When the sea breeze blew through the small windows, we could hear the echoes of songs from centuries past. The church bells rang out, echoing through the thick walls, blending with the distant sound of the waves. At night, Mont Saint-Michel shone like a lighthouse, illuminating the vast sky and sea. Today, Mont Saint-Michel is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, welcoming millions of visitors each year. Yet, amid the hustle and bustle of tourism, the island retains its sacredness. Monks still live here, and prayers still echo in the ancient cathedral. Mont Saint-Michel is more than just an architectural masterpiece, more than just a destination. It is a place where heaven and earth, sea and rock, man and God meet. And when standing on the top of the abbey, watching the tide recede, you will understand why people for centuries have called this a small door opening to eternity. 9. Matera, City of Stone. In southern Italy, nestled in the arid region of Basilicata, lies a city with a simple yet profound name: Matera, the City of Stone. From a distance, Matera resembles a giant maze, where houses, monasteries, and churches seem to grow directly from the limestone cliffs. The sassi, meaning stone, were carved into the cliffs by humans thousands of years ago, turning caves into places of shelter, from family homes to sacred places of prayer. Matera is considered one of the oldest surviving settlements in the world, dating back to the Paleolithic period. Walking through its narrow, winding alleys and under its stone arches, one hears echoes of a distant past, when humans first learned to make the harsh, natural environment their home. Matera was once considered a national disgrace. In the 1950s, as Italy modernized, people looked upon Matera's dark cave dwellings, lacking light and clean water, with pity. But over time, this once-forgotten place has emerged as a symbol of resilience and rebirth. In 1993, UNESCO designated Matera's Sassi as a World Heritage Site, and in 2019, Matera was named a European Capital of Culture. Matera is not only a place of ancient memories, but also a place of spiritual beauty. Churches carved into the rock with Byzantine frescoes, winding streets leading to small squares where bells echo down the deep Gravina Gorge. In the morning, the sunlight paints each stone step golden. In the evening, the lights turn the whole city into a starry sky spread across the ground. The cuisine here is also part of the soul. Matera bread is round, crispy crust, golden inside, eaten with caciocavallo cheese or sipping Aglianico wine. We feel like we are tasting the full flavor of southern Italy, rustic, rich, and passionate. Matera is also known as the Second Jerusalem because its dramatic rocky landscape and ancient houses have made it the setting for many biblical films, including Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ. But beyond cinema, Matera is a film in itself, written in stone, light, and human breath over thousands of years. When night falls, standing in the middle of the stone city, listening to the wind blowing through the cracks in the walls, we suddenly feel time disappear. Only the eternal presence of stone and human hearts remains, as enduring as Matera itself, the city that never stops telling stories. 10. Rothenburg, the Pearl of the Adriatic. On Croatia's Istrian Peninsula, overlooking the blue Adriatic Sea, lies a small town that looks like it was drawn from a watercolor painting. It's Rothenburg, where colorful houses crowd the harbor, their bright red roofs, blue windows, and yellow-brown walls reflecting off the water like a rainbow. Rothenburg is often called the Pearl of the Adriatic, and as you enter the old town, you'll see why. Rothenburg used to be an island, and it was not connected to the mainland until the 18th century. That is why it has retained its isolation and charm. Narrow, winding, steep cobblestone streets lead to the top of the hill, where the Church of St. Euphemia, with its nearly 60-meter-high bell tower, rises as a spiritual beacon for the whole town. From above, one can see the endless Adriatic Sea, its waves sparkling in the sunlight, and the white sails drifting slowly as if writing the song of the wind. Below, the Rothenburg harbor is bustling. Fishing boats are moored close together, fishermen returning with the smell of sea salt and fresh catch. This is where the cuisine is born, where fresh seafood is paired with Istrian wine, where every meal is a song of the sea. Along the harbor, cafes and restaurants jostle each other, music and laughter mingling, creating a rhythm of life that is both ancient and modern. Rothenburg is more than just a port city. It is also an artistic hub. The narrow streets are lined with galleries and workshops where local artists paint the colors of the sea and carve stories out of stone and wood. In the summer, cultural festivals turn the town into an open-air stage where visitors and residents come together to enjoy art and music. As the afternoon falls, the sunset covers the entire Rothenburg in a golden hue, as if the whole town is on fire. The sound of waves, the cries of seagulls, the crunching of footsteps on the cobblestone streets, all combine into a gentle symphony. And when night falls, the lights from the windows of the colorful houses reflect on the sea, turning Rothenburg into a shimmering picture that never goes out. Rothenburg is a place where the past and the present coexist in every corner, where people find peace in the middle of the vast ocean. And whoever has been here once will carry in their hearts a small but eternal piece of the Adriatic.